Hey friends, you're listening to the AI Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we talk tools, stories, and strategy for today's founders. I'm your host, Angelina Shively, and this show is for entrepreneurs who are curious about AI and want to know how to transform their businesses. In each episode, I share honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and the lessons learned along the way. If you're ready to use AI to save time, think bigger, and build smarter, you're in the right place. Let's go. Okay, friends, I am so excited. I'm here with Jenna Larson today, our beautiful GroupTrack and AI social sale analyzer. And Jenna, I just want to ask if you would tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got started in business.
Gosh, that's a can of worms, I'm going to tell you. It's a long answer, but I'll make it short. So I worked in corporate for 10 years and I loved my job. I worked for one of the largest universities, private universities in the world, really. And I kind of worked my way up and did a lot of things around voice of customer in the idea of like, how do we really serve at the level that will keep our customers buying over and over again? And I was there, I was loving it. I literally would get my job done by 11 o'clock every day, had the highest numbers in the company. And I'm like, with my best friend. So why would I ever leave? Step 4, I was sitting at church and God knocked on my head and was like, you know what, Jenna, it's time for you to quit and start a company. And I'm like, wrong girl, sir, I'm good. I think you're actually, got this wrong. And, he's relentless. And he was like, yeah, okay. I went to my husband and I was like, husband, I think I need to quit my full-time job and start a company. And he was, what would you do? And I'm like, I can take everything that I learned in corporate and teach people. And in my former life, I was a rower. I coached collegiately and had former Olympians that I coached as well. So I'm like, I'm a coach. This is what I do. Like, I'll just take these two things and combine them. And I was like, but by the way, I'm going to hire this business coach and she costs $30,000. And he was like, okay. And he was like, Jenna, if there's anyone who could do it, it's you. And I was like, oh my God, I was not expecting him to say that. I thought he was going to be like, no, you can't do this,
Right.
But he was like, if anyone can do it, it's you. So I was like, oh crap, now I have to do it, right? So I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, this is what I'm thinking I'm doing. And she's like, Jen, I've been waiting for this phone call for 2 years. And I'm like,
Oh,
So I literally walked into my boss's office and I was like, I got to quit. God told me to. I'm starting a company. I'm sure he thought I was absolutely crazy. But same thing. He was like, I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's you. So it was a really cool thing because so many people had just such faith in me. And so I did. I walked away from my full-time career. I started my first company, which was Drive Performance Coaching. And basically, I took everything from the corporate world and from performance coaching and just ended up really helping people get clients from social media using exactly what I did in corporate, which was follow-up systems and CRMs. And so what was happening in that company is that my clients were so happy. They were doing so well. They had so many conversations. But the problem is it created a problem. They're like, Jenna, we have too many people. We're losing people in the DMs. We can't keep track of it. It's too much. And so then I was like, this is lame. So I accidentally, because of that, created my second company, which is GroupTrack CRM. I think that's how you and I probably were introduced, is through that company. But basically, it's a follow-up system for social media. So it works on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And really the goal is just that, you have all of these people that you're in conversations with and that you're ideally moving into becoming clients. And this tool really helps you track all of them so that you can get more sales. So yeah, that's kind of the second company. And then we just launched our new AI tool. So
oh my gosh, so many things to dissect here.
it's
So,
crazy. Yeah.
so
But
one of them,
like an accident, we kind of joke that we had like
right?
dental $1 million companies, which is a really great accident, a really good one.
That's a great problem to have.
It
So
really is.
I think for the listeners, tell us a little bit. We're like, okay, I have this idea for Group Track. And then how did you go from idea to actually like creating this amazing tool?
Yeah. So the moment I had the idea, I remember I was in the car and I was like, oh my God, because the problem that we were having is that we're hanging out on social media, but every CRM, every, follow-up system, every tracker is external to where you're actually hanging out. You have to copy, paste it into a spreadsheet, copy,
Right.
paste it into ConvertKit, high level, whatever it may be, right? And so that's where the disconnect is. And so I was like, dang it, I just wish there was a system where we could just work where we want to work because this is where the people are. and really keep it, seamless. And so I was driving and I was like, oh my God, we're just going to build it. And so I called Nathan, and Nathan, who is now my business partner, at the time, he had a different software company. He had hired me as his private coach. He had this software company. He needed to know how to make sales on social media. So that's what he hired me to teach him. And I called him immediately. I was like, Nate, you have to build this. And he was like, that's impossible. Like, technically, you cannot do that. Like, it would be too hard, blah, blah, blah. And he crushed my entire dream of this like $1 million idea that I had. Yeah.
What? You were like, that's not the right answer.
Yeah, no, but I actually was super defeated. I got off the phone and I was like, okay, that was lame, right? But it was the holiday season. I kind of moved on. And then 2 weeks later, he's Jenna, I did it. And I'm like, you did what? I'm thinking this is a completely done, idea. And he's, I built it. And so that's how GroupTrack started, is that, he kind of said, wait a minute, this is a good idea. And he did the thing. And, when we first launched GroupTrack, the idea was just to help us manage Facebook groups, which is why it's called GroupTrack. But because it just got so many amazing entrepreneurs and people that were like, wait, can it do this? Can it do this? It kind of is so fun because our theme is we'll come up with these crazy ideas. Nate says, no, it's not possible. And then within seconds, I did it. So it's been really fun over the past 6 years of having this company and just watching it kind of go crazy with ideas really that were built from the community that uses it, which I think is the most exciting part.
So tell us a little bit how it works, because I'm envisioning, I have my Facebook page or group and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these amazing people in it, but I don't have them over in my CRM. So without doing something like a lead magnet or collecting their email upon entry, or even in that scenario, how does it work?
Yeah. And frankly, even when you get them in the external CRM, how do you talk to them there? The only way to talk to them is to email them. Typically when people are using social media, they're either commenting right on the post that the person is engaging with, or you're in the DMs with them. And so what our tool does is it literally lays right on top of social media. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whether you're in the DMs or in a group or on your personal profile, doesn't really matter. And I can literally hover over anybody, anywhere, and simply add them to the CRM, which just sits right on top of the page. Anywhere that you see an actual person's, name, you can simply hover over the name. And then on the side of your screen, a little sidebar is going to pop up, and that's GroupTrack. And you literally add them. So your CRM is sitting on the actual screen where you are literally working. And so what's beautiful about that is, you can go to all of these different locations. Let's say you have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, but you might be talking to these people on all different platforms. The really cool thing about GroupTrack is it goes all into one unified place, one pipeline where I can see where are they in my actual sales cycle. So the goal is to get them from, hey, I just met you. I'm kind of like looking to see if I think you might be a good fit. And then we basically move them through the steps to, bring them through the pipeline and turn them into a client. And so it's really great to have that visual.
And then on the back end, so like, for example, if I'm using High Level as my CRM, when I go in there, how does that appear? It's just got their information there.
Yeah. So the way we can integrate GroupTrack and High Level, we just do a very simple connection. The key is that in order for there to be a contact that's in GroupTrack created in High Level, is we just need the email in GroupTrack. So anytime you put an email in GroupTrack, it will automatically create that contact for you in High Level as well, so that you can really track them in the two systems. But I want you to think about it like this, right? We want to be where the people are. We want to be where the people are. Oh my God.
You need a little song for the
Yes.
Go ahead and write that down.
I'm going to. That was 100% organic. That was amazing. But that's the reality, right? Like think about it. Like when you're working in a system like High Level or ClickFunnels, it doesn't matter. You're so disconnected from the client, right? Now, it is an amazing system. We're obsessed with it, right? But the reality is, if I want to go and talk to you, how do I do that when I'm in those systems? The only way I can talk to you is to email you, right? Or I go find you on Facebook or Instagram and then I start a DM, but where's the conversation? I don't know where you are. And so we really want you to think about using GroupTrack as the social media CRM. So when you're talking to the people, when you're following up, when you're, sending offers and so forth, you're really using this system to track it. And then it reflects in something like high level. So then when you're doing your automations, your emails, your texts and so forth, it's got more context, right? You actually know where they are in the pipeline.
That makes total sense. And, talk to us a little bit about maybe some struggles that you have experienced as a business owner with AI and all
Oh
of the
my
things that have
gosh.
come into the play.
I got a million of those. Yeah. One of the hardest things I think is we built this amazing tool. It is unbelievable, except for it is built on top of someone else's platform, right? It's built on top
Right.
of Meta and it's built on top of LinkedIn. And so we're really at their whim, right? So if something changes, so I'll give you an example. One of our really cool features on Instagram and Facebook is we have, and actually on LinkedIn as well, is you can take a contact and in GroupTrack, you can have all of these pre-made message templates so that you're not retyping your DMs all the time, especially when you've got a really great strategy. And so our tool can then deliver the DM for you. We were looking at it the other day and we're like, man, all of a sudden the Instagram messages are not being delivered. What's going on? And so we look at it, and we're like, coders looking at it and all the things. We realize that Instagram made a change. And in one line of the code, it's case sensitive for one letter of a word, the C.
Oh, my word.
So we had a capital C. It had to be a lowercase c, so it broke it, right? And so that's what's really hard for us is that at any given time, there's about 1,000 different versions out in the world of Facebook and Instagram. So your version may be completely different than mine. And so we internally test our system using our own social media profiles every day, but it doesn't mean that yours may not have something different. And so one of the things we're very transparent about with our clients is that if anything ever doesn't work as expected, tell us right away, because then we'll get on, we'll look at your version and we'll recode for that and push it out to the world. But yeah, it is hard because there is just this expectation that it's going to work perfectly for everybody. And we will never be able to do that just because we've built on someone else's product, right? When we onboard people, we're like, this is the deal. If you ever get stuck, and our service is so amazing because of that. We are just like on top of it. And that's the thing that most people will tell you if you ask them, what do you think about GroupTrack and, Anna AI? Like, what is the biggest thing? And you'll hear everybody say, it's the team behind it. We're in the DMs talking to you. We are following up. We're making sure that you're getting results. And the big thing, and this is what I took from corporate, is when you serve your clients at the level that we would expect you to, they keep buying forever. And that's the beautiful
Right.
thing, right? So that is our number one goal in all of our companies, is to just overserve, over deliver, and, help our clients do really well.
And I think too, I can speak to that, even as just reaching out to say, oh, something wasn't working and you're like, oh, we're on it, so I think that
Yeah.
is a great lesson of, customer service. And when you are serving your people, they're going to respond. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved. Then you were like, you had this amazing company, things are going well. And then you're like, hey, wait, I have an idea. What's
I
happening
know.
next?
This is what happens. And I feel very strongly in this idea that you've got to be willing to get your feet wet when it comes to business. And what I mean by that is, you can stand on the shore all day long thinking, oh, I'd love to go to that promised land. But if you don't ever take that first step, you won't know if the sea will actually part and you could just walk right over. And so that's the motto I live by every day, which is just be willing to get your feet wet. Because if you take the first step and you realize, ooh, that's not good, you can turn around, or you can get a lifeboat, or you can get swimming lessons. There's just so many options. And I think, I get asked a lot of times, like, why do you think that your businesses are successful and that you guys are, doing the things at speed? I have an idea and I do it the next day. So
Right.
with Anna AI, what happened is I was at an event. So at the time of this recording, we're in January, right? So I was at an event, I think it was very late September. And we were just kind of talking about GroupTrack and, what do we want to do with it? What's the goal? What's the vision? All the things, right? And, we've been running that business almost 7 years now. And so it's been amazing. I'm obsessed. But I'm like, all right, I kind of want something like to excite me again. And we were at an event with Molly Mahoney and Perry Belcher, and they were talking about micro apps and all the things. And so I was like, huh. And they had an idea for this AI tool And what I did, and this is like the most meta thing, is I think this is so fun, right? I know that if I just create a tool or an offer, whatever it is, that if there's a not strong demand for it and I don't use the messaging and the marketing that is going to sell it, there's no reason to do any of it, right? So I had this idea and then I was like, let me go get the data to prove that it is needed. And so I went into the Reddit groups, the Facebook groups. I went on to social threads and I read and read and read and read. And then I started thinking, let me copy all this information and put it in ChatGPT, but it was so cumbersome. It didn't work very well. It was just like very frustrating. But regardless, after hours and hours and days, I was like, okay, 100% this is needed. And then the funniest part, and the reason I say it's so meta, is the tool that we ended up creating does all of that work that I just did manually.
Super fast friend, if you're loving this episode, make sure you follow the show and leave a 5-star review. And if you want help actually using AI to build content and sales, come join us inside the school community, AI Amplified Entrepreneurs. The link is in the show notes.
So our new AI tool we're rebranding her. Her name is Anna AI, which is the analyzer.
Love it.
I know. So what she does, we call her she, this little floating orb, and it's really cute. And basically you can go onto any social media platform. So Discord, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, even the Facebook ads library, which I'm like freaking out about. I'll tell you about what that means in a minute. YouTube, I mean, literally everywhere. And so what you can do is you can go where the people are talking. And I want you to just think about this. If you have an issue or you want to research something, where do you go now? You go to social media because there's a Reddit rant somewhere where people are losing their minds talking about a problem or seeking information or looking desperately for help, right? And so what this tool does is we can go into these communities and these threads now, and we can say, hey, Anna, run an audience analysis in this community. And what it does and what's really cool about it is it's not just doing an analysis of what it's reading. It's actually taking all the information and taking data, I should say, and turning it into information that's usable because Anna knows everything about your business. So she's going to do an analysis. She's going to read every comment, every post, everything in that scan that you run. And then it's going to synthesize the information, but apply it to your business. So, for example, let's say that you are a coach and you help people. Let's say a mom, you help parents with kids of IEPs who are really frustrated. They're battling that, right? I can go into the Facebook group of all the moms that are so frustrated looking for the answer, run the scan, and it's going to tell me all of the pain points, all of the desires, everything they're trying that's not working, what they're trying that is giving them a little momentum. It's going to give me a full word bank of the exact words these moms are using. And then it's going to say, hey, here's a product we would recommend you build based on what they're saying. And by the way, here's all the hooks, all the angles, all the things that you should use to market and message it. It's so freaking crazy.
That's amazing. Like absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing, right? It's written. It's literally everything you could ever need to know is written. The problem is we don't have the time. And frankly, we're just not as smart as AI. And so to have the AI go do the scan in 30 seconds where it would take you months, right? And a lot of money to hire a research company to do the data analysis and then have it give you that information and it be relevant to your business. It's crazy.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
And then so what's the next step for people after they run that scan, they get all that juicy information?
Yeah.
You have training, you tell them, okay, this is what's next.
Yeah. So you can do whatever you want with it, which is really cool. So it gives you the output of what it gives you is so good that you could take it. For example, we've got a lot of different types of scans or analysis that you can do. And that's the other thing, because you work in AI, if you just go to ChatGPT and you ask it something, it's not going to give you a great answer. You have to be a prompt engineer. Who has time to do that? We did, right? So when we built the prompts that are already embedded in Anna, when you get her, it's already built to give you the exact output that we know you need, right? So for example, one of the scans that you could do is an offer creator scan. And same thing, it will go do the scan and then populate exactly what we think your offer should be based on what it read. So it gives it kind of done for you, and then you can take it to market, right? But it's going to give you all of those things you need, the messaging, the marketing, and you can even talk back to it and be like, help me come up with all my social media posts and help me write my landing page based on this information. And again, it's going to use the word that it came up with from what's actually happening in real life. So we do have a free course on how to use it. And I think what's really cool is, we just launched this back in November. It's already going crazy in terms of a SaaS, right? Typical conversion, anywhere from like 20 to 50% on a trial. Ours is over 73% right now, which is insane. And the other thing is, when people are getting the free trial, they're upgrading in the middle of the trial, which is also crazy. You don't have to pay us, but you're giving us money because you want. Yeah, it's crazy.
Let me throw my credit card.
Yes. I'm like, please throw your money at me. I love that. But what's so cool is we've already realized, okay, this is a hit. And, of course, in typical Nate and Jenna fashion, when we built GroupTrack, it was like just for groups. And then it blew up into this amazing thing. And of course, same thing with Anna AI. It's just to do this. And now Nathan and I are like, wait, but do this and this and this. So it's expanding. And one of the things we're talking about is like creating micro courses to go with it, right? So it's, if you're looking to create a new digital product, here's the exact scans, here's the steps, go run it. Right now we've got a really awesome onboarding course that just walks you through how to use it. But I think in the near future, it's going to go crazy. And I think the most exciting thing is it's the people who are using it that are like, can it do this? And we're like, no, but it should. And so we're going to
Right. So like feedback from your audience, again, the users, the people that are in there working with it. That's so incredible. So you mentioned a little bit about Facebook ads. Like, how are you using that with Anna?
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know Anna worked on this. I accidentally found this out. That's really funny. So I, hate guessing. And I don't know about you guys, but don't you just feel like if someone had the plan, you could just follow it and do it? That's how I feel, which is why when I went to my husband and I said, I'm quitting my job, I was like, I found this coach. She's got the plan. It costs a lot of money, but I know she has the plan. And so that's kind of how I operate in business. I'm like, just who has the plan so I can just go do it? And so when it comes to ads, I was like, maybe we should run some ads for Anna. We've never done ads before. In GroupTrack, for the last couple of years, we've hit over 1 million, 100% organic, no ad spend, which is wild. Right. And so with Anna, I'm like, okay, we're going to do the same thing in terms of the strategy we implement. And, it's exactly what we teach in our coaching. But I was like, let me see, because this conversion's kind of crazy and this is new. Let me just see. So I was over on what I could find to be our closest competitor, which really isn't, but they have another tool, similar price point, similar, AI, that sort of stuff. So I was like, let me see what they're doing. So I went over to the ads library. And if you guys are not aware, you can go over to the ads library and you can find anybody who's running ads, and they have to show you what ads they're running. And you can see all their headlines, their copy, how long the ad has been running. Obviously, if the ad's been running a while, it's delivering because they wouldn't keep it going if it wasn't, right? So I like thinking, damn, same thing. I want to go run a scan and see what they're doing and then have it tell me what to do based on their, success. And then I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, the Ann Orb is showing here. And I didn't even know, because obviously when we built it, it's supposed to be like social media sites.
Right.
And so I was like, let me just click this button.
Hit.
So I clicked Anna and I just clicked, we have a scan called the competitor scan.
Okay.
And this scan, normally we built to go into someone else's Facebook group or go over to their YouTube or go over to whatever, see what they're doing. Why are they outperforming us? What's working well? And how can we adjust that to our company? And so I was like, well, let me just see if this little competitor thing works on their ads library. And so I clicked it, scanned. 30 seconds later, gave me a complete in-depth analysis of all of their copy, their descriptions, their ads. And I was like, oh my gosh.
My gosh.
Yeah. And remember, it's not just going to tell you about theirs. Because it knows about your business, it's going to then say, okay, here's all the things we got from them. Here's what they're doing well. Here's what they're not doing well. Here's what you should do. And then it gave me all of the ideas of what ads I should run. So we're really excited because we're actually going to do a test. We're going to run those ads that Anna told us.
Oh my
If
gosh,
they
what a great
perform,
case
we're done.
study.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So exciting. I love that. I am so excited to dive in because I know that these are tools that will totally help my business as well as many others. What, in terms of support, what do you think when people are trying new things like this? What's your best advice for them?
Yeah. So I will say with GroupTrack, there's a learning curve. And the reason is there's two groups of people that come to us. One is the person that already has a fully dialed in strategy. They know exactly what they're doing. They're doing it on rinse and repeat, but they're overwhelmed because they can't keep up with it. And they're just looking for a tool to then say, let me take this strategy, put it in the tool. And those people, to be honest, are pretty often running. Our tool comes pre-built with pipelines, message templates, so the setup is very minimal, but they've got that mental model coming into the tool where they already know what they're doing. And so those people, we've got a really amazing onboarding, free training every Tuesday, Facebook group, the support is crazy. Those people, it's like, we never even talk to them. We don't even hear from them and they're off and running. Then we have a second group of people that are like a little bit newer and maybe aren't doing things like events or DM strategy, or maybe they've got a Facebook group and it's just not really working very well. And so they're like, I am looking for not only the tool, but I'm looking for the strategy to go with it. So as I mentioned with GroupTrack, we try to build as much of the strategy into the tool as possible and it comes with it. So you're going to see, in a typical CRM, the pipeline stages are like warm lead, cold lead. They're just not helpful. Our pipeline stages are like, uncovering needs, sent resource 1, sent resource 2, like it tells you what to do as part of the strategy. So with those people, group number 2, who need a little more support, we also have a coaching program called the Organic Sales System. It is a low ticket coaching program, but I tell you, we have people who tell us like, they pay $297 a month for this coaching. They say that they get more out of that than they do from the programs they're paying $2,000 a month for. So we over deliver as well. But that is where we kind of take the strategy and we put the system with it. And then we lovingly force you to do the work. It's very tactical. We're like, post this, say this, put them here, do this. So, our goal is to make sure that our clients stay. And we know that with the right system, the strategy and support, they will. And so we have that. But like I said, we do free coaching every Tuesday in our community on the tool. And then we have workshops we run and, all fun stuff. In terms of Anna, I think that kind of the thing that is really exciting about Anna is there is no learning curve. There's no, literally you go in, you open the tool, you put some business information, you run a scan, you're done. And it's instant.
Right.
So there's no
Right.
learning curve. I think that's what makes it really exciting. I think that's why our conversion rate is so ridiculous because people are like within 30
Right.
seconds of opening the tool.
So I know our podcast is about AI and you have invented a tool that is embracing it. But in general, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs, small business owners? Like what's your biggest takeaway from all of these life experiences that you've had?
I would say with AI, it's just so much possibility, right? And even I feel behind in AI, which might sound crazy having a tool. I know that there are so many things that we don't know, and I would say that will feel daunting for a lot of people. I think the coolest thing that I am seeing is, for example, I had a different coaching program for a long time. And what I was always trying to do, because I just happen to be a natural at selling and the way I talk to people in the DMs, if you could let me not be a CEO and just let me sell all day, that would make me happy. But I got to run a business, right? So what would happen though for so long is I'm just trying to take what's in my brain and transfer that to other people. And that's hard. That's a skill that they have to learn and then apply. And I think the thing that frustrates people is, when you get into business, do you want to be a salesperson and a social media strategist? No, you want to go do the thing that you love. But we're
Right.
here telling you now you have to learn all these skills. I think what AI has enabled me to do, at least with the clients in my coaching programs, and even we're actually about to release some insane AI inside of GroupTrack as well. What has really enabled us to do with AI is to fast track the results because no longer does my client actually need to learn the skill as much. they get to just use our AI to borrow my brain. And I think
Right.
that's what's really exciting. I borrow other people's brains through AI, and now people borrow mine through AI. And I think it's really helpful. I do think it'll be interesting because people are not going to learn as much. We're going to end up like Wall-E one day, the movie Wall-E. That is fully how I envision the world. But
until then, we'll just celebrating and using it.
Yeah, we're going to get some real cool results in the meantime. So
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. So I would just say get with it. Like, get with it, even if it's a baby step. Use someone's GPT. Get Anna AI. I think that's the coolest thing is it does the thinking for you.
I love that. I'll be sure to put a link to all of your socials. And if people want to try out GroupTrack or try out Anna, those will be there as well. And I just thank you so much for your time and sharing your insight.
Yes. Thank you for having me. See you guys.
Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the AI Amplified podcast for entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about my work, head on over to my website at aicoachingwithangelina.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. See you next week.